Today's call. Today is May 6, 2026, and it is a busy first 4 months out of the year. And we are jumping into module 3, which is the technology and tools for real estate. Just a quick recap, if you guys look at the syllabus for the year, we talked about a lot of different advertising strategies, a lot of different marketing strategies in module 1. Module 2, we talked about different things to grow and do mastery with and master with time management, financial management. Talked about luxury marketing. Had a great call with Carol Steven going over a lot of different things that she does, applying consistency, discipline, and just all of the above with time management and financial management, and some marketing that she does on her listings. So that was a great webinar that we did in podcast. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you go and check that out, or go to the private Facebook page at Real Estate Masterclass and take a look at that. But today we're going to cover maximizing your social media presence to get more business. This is going into module 3. And 2 weeks from now, we're going to have Marissa come up and talk about some social media and platforms and using video. So Brian, I guess we can click off here and just have a conversation about social media, just taking this syllabus off. But the one thing that for years, looking at social media, I was just looking at some stats up on social media, and I wanted to share it with everyone. And it talked about that the average person spends 2 hours and 21 minutes a day on social media globally, and that's 141 minutes a day, every day, right? Per week, it's about 16 and a half hours. So think about that. That's like a part-time job, right, Brian? A part-time job of just being on social media. And for example, like Gen Z, those are a lot higher. That's closer to 4 to 5 hours a day, right? So I think about even my daughter Julia, how much she's on it, and the things that they look up. I mean, everything is all about their phone. Everything's about social media, but that's where the consumers are. And I think that things have changed, shifted, I would say, in a way where a lot of this stuff is going online for social media, for Facebook, for Instagram. Now you got TikTok, you got LinkedIn, you got YouTube. I mean, the list goes on and on. But we've always said this, is that in real estate, you're a public figure, right? So you have to be careful on the things that you put out there and use it to your advantage. And always when you're posting something that's on there, you're always asking yourself that question: is this going to appeal to the type of person I want to work with, or is it going to basically put people in a different direction and attract, or what's the other word I was using, Brian? It just came blank to my mind here. I always say it's going to either attract or repel. That's what it is, right? So you got to make sure that when you're putting these things on there, that you're attracting the right people, and that you're not putting things up there like religious things, or things on the war, or political statements, or anything like that. So very, very important. Last May 23rd, so we're almost 1 year into it, I went to a marketing class out in Mississippi with the Cheplaks, and Alec Cheplak, which is a great marketer. He's built a couple multi-million-dollar businesses in marketing, and he talked about social media and the importance of social media. And he just said, everyone is on it, young and old, and in order to be relevant today, you have to be on it. But the one thing that he said to me that really stuck out is that he said, if you're not posting 3 to 5 times a day, you're not even in the game, right? And at that point, I'm looking at my social media and I'm like, I'm not even posting 3 to 5 times a month, right? So I had to really step it up. And if I was going to bring this back to you and other agents that were working for me and coaching members, I had to do it myself. So since May 23rd, 2025, I've posted 3 to 5 posts every single day, 7 days a week without fail. I've not missed a day. And I'm going to continue it after that. But why I share that with you is because I wanted to, obviously lead by example, but I also wanted to see the effects of it and see if all what was being said is true. And looking back now at a lot of my views and engagement and the actual correspondence that we've had with a lot of people through Messenger and everything else has been huge. I mean, we've had over 2 million views. I've had over 40,000 interactions. Do the math on that. We've had over 1,500 more followers on Facebook as a result of it. And the list keeps going on and on, right? So it is here to stay. If you don't like being on social media. I heard this the other day. I'm very private. I don't like to put myself out there, and that's great. But get out of the real estate business. You are a public figure whether you like it or not. And if you want to be successful in the real estate business, you really need to be on social media. But all kidding aside, I mean, there are agents out there that don't do any social media and they're successful, but a lot of them have been in the business for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and they have a following and have a book of business, right? So on today's call, I just wanted to go over some different tips, some different things that you may be doing right now, some things that you may want to start doing, and things that are going to enhance and maximize your social media presence. And so with that, Brian, I know that you have the controls. I'm at a remote location in my house that doesn't have dual screens and monitors. So Brian's going to take over on that event. But Brian, anything you wanted to add to what we've been talking about, just in a few minutes of the call?
Yeah, you were mentioning about, like Gen Z and the generation right now, they don't remember a world without social media, right? We can remember a world in the business when, even the internet wasn't that popular, right? So a lot of the realtors who have been in the business for years, that's the old school OG realtors we call them, right? They were all kind of in denial with social media at first, and now it's a crucial pillar in the business. And if you're not active or relevant on social media, it leads your clients to think that you're out of the business. And even if you're shy and you don't want to post as much or be as active, we call those the secret agents. That can lead people to believe that, wow, I didn't think you were doing real estate anymore, right? How many times people in the audience have probably heard that, when you see someone that you haven't talked to in a while that ends up buying a house, and like, oh, that's right, you're in real estate. Yeah, we bought this house. Or they start telling you stories about how they bought a house and what a great deal they got. The only problem is they didn't get it from you, right? And that's probably because you weren't as relevant as some of the other people in your sphere. Now everyone knows realtors, a couple of realtors, right? The ones that are more active and engaged in social media, they're the ones that are building the brand, they're building the audience, and people are gonna generally flock to them. I think about TV commercials in the morning, really. When we watch the same attorneys or the same contractors, like those are the ones that stick in your mind. Wow, if I got an accident, right, automatically the heavy hitters, because I see that commercial going on over and over and over again. Right. It's repetitive, and I think to your point, you're not even in the game if you're not doing it consistently and drilling into the people. This is what I do, right? This is your identity. Is they know you as a person, but they also know you as a realtor because of your social media, and that's a channel now. I would argue it's, to your point, people are spending more time on social media scrolling than they are watching TV now, right? Mm-hmm. And it's inexpensive. TV is still really expensive where social media isn't. So you have an opportunity to use social media to really leverage your business. And it's I would argue it's a must in your business. If you don't have it now, used to be optional. Some people would be in it, some people wouldn't. Now you have to be in it to survive in this industry.
Yeah, and I liked what you mentioned about TV and like the attorneys or whoever it is, right? It can be car dealers, it can be whatever. But a couple different things happen when you really think about that, and that's why I think on real estate works so well for us, is that a lot of the marketing that we do is that we attract by educating, right? We attract by educating, and by letting. Yeah, just being the authority, right? But those are the three things that I always say. It's like writing a book. Same thing with social media. It does three things for you. It provides that authority figure, right, that you're putting out there in that space, whether it be attorney or real estate agent. Number two, it puts you at expert status because now you're talking about it. Now you're on social media, so you must be successful and you must be everything you say is, most likely accurate. But the third piece is that you are a celebrity when doing that, right? Whether you think about it or not, but because you're on there and you're putting your stuff out there, people view you as a celebrity, like they do. They're flipping through and they're seeing movie stars and they're looking at, all kinds of different people, influencers that are out there. You become that person, whether you think about that about yourself or not. That's how they perceive you, right? And people want to do business with other people that are successful. So, but I don't think we have to really sell you too much on the social media, whether you should be doing it or not. It really comes down to how you're going to implement that and how you're going to use that as a tool in your business. And we always, go over the four pillars, right? We talk about online, we talk about offline, we talk about your COI, and the fourth pillar being social media. And social media should really mirror your database. They go hand in hand, right? All the people that are in your Facebook should be in your email list, should be in your COI list, and it should be a weekly email that you're sending out to them. And if you don't have their information, that's a reason to contact them through social media to get their information so that you can do that. But vice versa, people that are in your database, you want to make sure that you're friends with them on Facebook and that you're following them on Instagram, because you want to pop up in their algorithm as well, so that when they get an email from you, then they see you on social media, you're deep in that relationship with them, because it's all about timing, right? So many people we talk to that that'll say, agents, I'll hear that, oh, I know this person for 4 or 5 years, I sold them a house, and then I haven't talked to them about a year, and then they listed with someone else. Why is that? And it's because you just weren't top of mind with them, right? So we have to come up with these different ways to do that. So
Yeah,
why
one
don't
thing
we
we
go
want
ahead?
to add to that too, before we go on to the worksheet, is we always
Yeah,
talk about is that the consumer, whenever they're buying a big product, right, they're going to do their research and their homework. Now, there's no bigger asset or product that they're going to buy than a home most of the time, right? So social media can make you or break you. The lack of you being on social media is not going to allow them to feel good about their decision, because they're going to want to inquire as much information about you. And you alluded to it earlier. We want to make sure we're putting positive, good information out there versus political or vulgar or something that's going to turn them off, because it's like a resume now, social media, right? And people are like, well, it's my personal page, it's just my friends and family. Well, that's your sphere, that's your COI. I would argue those are the people you have to impress the most
right.
when it comes to your business. So we're gonna talk about it and elaborate a little bit, but social media is not what it was when it first got introduced, especially if you're using it for business purposes. I would argue your business, some people will say, well, it's my personal business, right? Well, your business is personal too. So you want to keep in mind that the people who are more likely to refer you, they're probably not going to refer you if you're running your mouth off or putting negative stuff out on social media, because people are going to research who their options are, and they're going to go to the ones that are present and the ones that seem to have their business dialed in. They want to get to know you, obviously, as a person as well too. They want to do business with you,
Right.
know, like, and trust. But you have to be careful with social media is the point. It can make you or break you. All right.
All right, I'll hit these first three, Brian.
Okay. Let's see.
All right, so social media is one of the most powerful ways to build trust, stay top of mind, and we talked about that here in the opening session here. It's a great way to connect with buyers and sellers, often before they're even ready to move, right? So we're educating them, they're getting to know, like, and trust us, like Brian said earlier, and it's just a way for us to connect with them, and that's who people attract to, right? They want to go to someone that they know, like, and trust. And consistent presence definitely showcases your expertise and turns every content that you into a real estate opportunity. So not that every post that you have to do has to be all business, because people say, well, what do you post? What's your playbook? And the playbook is, I try to put one personal, one business, and then one gratitude or shout out. Right, that's kind of my playbook. Sometimes I might have two personal. If I'm doing 4 or 5 posts, maybe I'll do 2 personal, 2 business, 2 shout outs, stuff like that. I'll put a quote in there, and some, go very well, some don't, but I'm documenting my life, right? I'm documenting my days, and people identify with that. One of my biggest posts that I had just a few weeks ago was coming home from or leaving Florida to go back home, and that was when everything was going on, Brian, with TSA and all the long lines and everything else. And I just put on there, no long lines, went right through, and I was walking down the vestibule there into the plane, and Sherry and I were walking through. We had over 100, almost 135,000 views that were on there. I can't even believe all the comments that were put on there. But again, sometimes you'll hit something that all of a sudden it goes viral like that. That's been my highest ever. So it's not like I'm like, a big influencer or going viral all the time. But the reason,
you said it was timing.
yeah, it was timing, right? It was timing, and it was current news, what was going on. So anything that you can do like that to just let people know what's going on, and if it relates to what's going on currently, you're going to get much better. More people are going to connect with that, because that's what's on the top of their mind, right? But business, personal, and a shout out or gratitude. So that's the plan of attack, or playbook, if you would, of what I use. But being consistent is the most important. Showing up every day, doing 3 to 5 posts a day.
Yeah, we're going to have some samples in another slides of what you can post for contact. But
Yep.
And we're going to talk about these different platforms too that you could use. But prioritizing video content using short-term video, reels, TikTok shorts to showcase homes, tips, and your daily real estate life, all right? You want to remind them that, you know, that you are in the business. And Willie, you always say this, perception is reality. Even if you have no active pendings, no active listings, but you're posting that you attended a training, or you're posting, you know, you're going through another open house or Purpose Open, or hey, check out these listings over the weekend. Share an article, talk about interest rates, what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to reinforce the fact that you are a realtor, right? So position yourself as a local expert, highlight neighborhoods, local businesses. You could do market updates, community events. And again, we'll get into some of those examples right now. And I'll wrap up this page, we'll move on. But educate your audience. When you educate, you attract, right? Share valuable insight like buyer and seller questions and market updates. And one of our future trainings, when we use AI now is a tool where you can just ask it simply, what are the top 5 buyer questions? What are the top 5 tips for sellers? And then use that to create content. So we'll get into more of that in future trainings, but the excuse Willie used to be, I don't know what to say, or I don't like what I look like on camera, right? And you always say that any video is better than no video, right? Shitty video is better than a crappy video or no video at all. So.
Well, no, my biggest thing is that people are like, I don't like the way I look on video, and I don't like the way my voice is. I go, yeah, but you're showing up on listing appointments like that, so who cares?
Right.
And it is true, right? But there was something on the last slide, Brian, if you go back to it, where it says 3 to 5 posts a week. And that is what's, you know, recommended. I mean, if you're not doing anything and you want to start, you don't have to do 3 to 5 to start. But 3 to 5 a week really needs to be done in this business. You know, even if it's 1 a day that you're putting out 5 times a week, that's a minimum. But if you really want to step it up and you really want to get the algorithm going and really start building your audience and your following, 3 to 5 a day is what's recommended, right? But so I just wanted to make sure I was clear with that. But do at least 3 to 5 minimum a week. Tell stories. I'm going to show you an example. One of the best ones that does this is Brenda Mayette. She does a great job of telling stories of people that her clients and what they did and what they experienced and what they went through and how she was introduced to them. And people like that. They love that. They identify to that and just tells a story, because stories sell, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to just be selling and always, you know, call me, call me, call me. You want to share the experience of what's going on. So I will, when we get done with the sheets and filling these blanks in, I'll pull up an example of Brenda Mayette. But telling stories is so important when you're posting on social media and turning those listings into transactions, into engaging stories and content, sharing the emotional side of it as well.
Yeah, and have your clients, you know, use proof, you know, third-party endorsements, use proof, share client testimonials, success stories, before and after experiences. After every transaction, you should be collecting surveys and asking for permission to share their testimonials. If you can get one, even better, right? Or even a soul picture with a testimonial will go a long way, because that's evidence of success, right? Engage daily and respond to comments, messages, and interact with other content to boost visibility. This is important. Don't do, what do they say, post and ghost, right? If you post something, make sure you're engaging in that post and making comments, because then it'll definitely boost your visibility, and you'll show up on other people's platforms and other people's feeds the more that you're engaged with it. Well, I'll let you take the next few here.
Yeah, number 8, include clear call to actions, right? The reason you're doing it, not every time, but they say for every post, every 8 posts, 7 to 8 posts that you do, your 8th or 9th post should be some type of call to action, right? And what I mean by that is maybe it's a guide, you know, where you're guiding your audience, but maybe you're giving them a free guide on something, or giving them a free CMA packet, or sending them something. But the call to action is you're getting them to do something, right? So here it would be to DM me home to get that information on what your home is currently worth, right? In the comments, just type in guide, and we'll send you our home seller guide on how to get top dollar for your property. Click the link in the bio in the first comment.
Talk about that, Willie, about using the comment section for links instead of in the post.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know this, but when you're posting on Facebook and you're putting in your posts and you're putting all your information in, a lot of people will put the actual website in there, right? www, mirandarealestategroup.com, whatever. Don't put it in the post, because Facebook wants you to stay on Facebook. When you post that in the post and click on it, now you're going outside of Facebook, and Facebook doesn't like that. So the algorithm is going to be definitely affected by it. So a workaround to that is that when you post the actual link in the first comment, right, then that way it doesn't go against your algorithm, and you're going to have much better, you're going to just have much better engagement that way, and it's going to have a better reach. So that's why you'll see a lot of times we'll say click link in first comment, right? And then you go to first comment, and then that way you're not affecting it. But people will put YouTube links and different things like that. Like YouTube's a competitor of Facebook, right? They don't want that on there. So they're going to try to kind of move it over here and not get it out there. It's just not like that. The other thing that Facebook doesn't like, it doesn't like Canva photos, even though I know a lot of people do and we do it. But we can definitely take just a regular photo and a Canva image and put that on there, same message, and you will see that the photo will sometimes 10 times the activity, the likes, the views on just that regular real photo versus a Canva post or even an AI. Like a lot of people do all these AI type photos, that gets shot down too. Like Facebook doesn't like that, right? It doesn't like it. It'll send it, but it doesn't give you the same type of reach that you would if you just put more authentic posts that are out there, right?
And I noticed
So
that one photo in a post versus multiple photos on a post too will get more engagement.
right, right. Build your personal brand, right? Your personal brand is you, right? At the end of the day, people don't care about what company you work for. They really don't. Stats show less than 3% of sellers selected an agent based on the affiliation that they had. It was always about that agent, their personal brand, their knowledge of the neighborhood, the referral that they referred to them. But less than 3% picked an agent because of the affiliation of the company they were with. So you're building your personal brand here. So show your lifestyle, show behind the scene moments when you're working with people, right? A lot of times I'll do that. I'll show in my home office, or sometimes Sherry and I are going somewhere and I'll videotape her or do something with her from a personal standpoint. But it doesn't have to be all about business, right? I was golfing the other day, and I took a picture. Sherry and I took a video of she had this bag of Triscuits that she was eating because she likes to snack, and she had little Triscuits out. I go, you better put that away because there's black crows flying around the area, and they'll come right into the cart when we're putting. And she's like, I'll just tuck it in here. Well, no one will take it. I go, they're gonna get in there. Trust me, either
What
that or
about
a
those
squirrel.
squirrels?
Yeah, the monkey squirrels, right? Right? You've seen it firsthand. They're vicious down here in Florida. And we went to go putt. All of a sudden, I hear like, "Get out of there! Get out of there!" I hear, I look over and she's like chasing a big crow away with a bag of Triscuits going up into the tree. And so it was just I just put my video camera on and I just started saying, all right, Sherry's all upset because she thinks the crow is now going to eat the plastic bag and die, right? But that got like 5,400 views on that, just putting that up there, right? And people made a lot of comments and they identify with it. But it just shows your character, right? Your competence is what you are and who you are as a real estate agent, but also shows your character. And again, people do business who they know, like, and trust. And it reminds them of their own situations a lot of times, right? So, but your personal brand is your personal brand. So making sure that, you show your lifestyle, show behind the scene type things, not in a way where you're rubbing it in or, being better than everyone, but it's okay to be able to do that and show who you are from a personal standpoint. 10, track and adjust, monitor different posts, right? I just told you how many 5,400. I knew what posts does well. I knew 134,000 posts on the one that we did in the airport. You have to track to see what's working. And I know that current events and current affairs track and do very well. And I know what does bad, right? I know Canva does bad. I know sometimes even some of the quote posts, if there's not a really good quote, doesn't do that great, right? So you want to make sure that you track that and see which ones are doing better for you, and then do more of those as you move forward. Was there like 10 things or something at the bottom, Brian, on that?
Yeah, we're going to touch on those right here, Willie, on the same thing here on this screen here. I was going to whip through some of these slides because it's going to cover a lot of the stuff that's on that list. Can you see this where it says best practices?
Yeah, yep.
I'll touch on this screen, Willie, and then you could advance to some of these different ones here. But just a reminder too that social media, even though it's your personal social media page, a lot of people tend to forget that anytime you're talking about real estate and you hold a license, Department of State in most states are going to hold you to the rules and regulations. So this is a slide I always put up when we're talking about social media, just to remember some of the basics, right? You got to put your brokerage name, their full name or number of the brokerage, and any marketing that you do, I always have it where you can click back to the broker site just to be more compliant. So, but make sure that you're putting your name, not a nickname, the way it is on your license. Just overall, just make sure you're being mindful of the DOS advertising guidelines on your social media posts. So a lot of times where to start, right? We've touched on a lot of these different things. Just define who your audience is, your demographics that you want to send content to. Pick platforms, and we'll get into some of the platforms. Willie, you can elaborate on which ones are used. I know you talked about it before in the past. They're like different TV channels, right? Different platforms, different demographics. Having a presence where you're at least smiling on the camera, being consistent, we already talked about, and having a plan, telling a story. But Willie, maybe talk about to the demographics here on social media, because there's some people that are heavy on one and light on another, and you know what's your audience prefer? Like, what would the approach be?
Yeah, it all depends on your audience, right? So they all work. Every platform works, right? So they all work, but think of all of these platforms as a different TV station, right? So let's say Facebook is CNN, and maybe YouTube is Fox News, and maybe, you know, Twitter or X is CNBC, right? Like, you're going to attract a different audience on every channel, right? But the one thing I can say is that, and you can see on here, right? So many people use Facebook. 53% or 55% or 53% are using Facebook, right? So you want to be on that platform, have that be your hub, and then whatever other platforms you want to do, you can. Like for me, when I post on Facebook, I share it automatically to my Instagram. So I'm not in Instagram a lot, but it's sharing everything over to Instagram. So you would think that I'm posting on both, but it's doing it automatically. And then occasionally I'll put stuff on LinkedIn, which LinkedIn is more of a business site, but I'll put stuff on LinkedIn. I'll put stuff on YouTube, which is usually long form video. Like if I wanted to post this call and I wanted to put it out there, I would put it up on YouTube, right? Because that's more geared towards education. It's more long form. Even though they have YouTube Shorts, which are usually 60 to 90 seconds, YouTube is more for the longer videos. What else you got on there, Brian?
Have you been doing TikTok, Willie? What's your thoughts on TikTok?
Yeah, I do, but you know, again, occasionally, right? I'll put stuff on there, like I'll put a video on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool, and I'll just throw it up on TikTok. Not as much as I probably should be, but again, don't forget, I'm not in personal production like I was. If I'm in personal production where 100% of my income is coming from personal sales, then I'm definitely going to do that. I do it just to stay relevant with other agents, so I know what's going on and see what's working, what's not. But I would be posting on it every day. Now, if you talk to Janelle Gumani, one of our top agents, one of our President's Club member, Miranda Real Estate Group, a good chunk of her business, I think like 35% of her business last year came from TikTok, right? And it's just posting simple videos on there, and it just took off. I mean, the algorithm has just taken off for her, where she gets thousands and thousands and thousands of views, and people call her, hey, I saw you on TikTok, I want to list my house. I saw you on TikTok, I want to buy a house. So that works, and it's a different audience.
Definitely younger. So, you know, basically though, set realistic goals for yourself. You know, Willie's got 3 times a day, but even just start with something. Try to post a few times a week and pick the platforms that you're comfortable with. Use a social media goal sheet. That's, you know, more or less like when you're writing on your goals, you should be also tracking, you know, what do I want to do social media wise? And this is just designed to just give you some ideas of what to focus on. We were talking about that list below, Willie. I'll let you take this, the ABCs of what to post, right? So it's built on awareness, building trust, and community. And you indirectly, you're hitting on all these cylinders when you're doing your posts on social media, Will.
Yeah, awareness, and that goes without being said, right? Let people know that you're in the real estate business, right? Don't be the secret agent. So many people, I just told you, right? 2 hours and 41 minutes a day or whatever it comes out to there, and 16 and a half hours a week, people on social media. Just because you're not doesn't mean that your consumer's not, right? So you got to be out there to looking for you. So they need to be aware. You need to put stuff out there, and you can put just listed posts, just sold posts, evidence of success, as Rick DeLuca would say, right? Evidence of success that you are a successful real estate agent, even if you haven't sold a house. you know, you can share other houses that sold, and people, like Brian said, perception is reality. People think that you sold that house. You build trust, right? People do business, know, like, and trust. We've talked about that. But when you're consistent, you're showing up. Yeah, your content looks consistent. You're building your brand, and you want to definitely be personable, relatable. Don't be fake, right? Like,
Yeah.
I see some agents that are really like, you know, like me. I'm a little bit more calm. I'm not jumping up and down and everything else. And then they do these videos that are like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm, you know, come on. And like, just be yourself, because people will see right through that you're phony, and that's not a good look. So just be authentic on it. And in community, you know, definitely show your support about the community, but be genuine about it. Especially like we do the Children's Hospital, and we do, you know, breast cancer awareness and different things that we do out there. That's because we're involved in it. We like to post stuff that, you know, we give back on charities, and you want to show to the community that you're involved in those things, right? Don't get involved with them just for business. Do it because you're passionate about it and you want to make a difference and you want to give your time, because it's not all about money. It's not all about donating money. Time is just as important, right? And a lot of these charities need your time and volunteerism. So, but awareness, build trust, and community is so important when it comes to social media.
Yeah, and you talked about being personal, Willie. It's just not being scripted, because you know, like I mentioned, AI. You could pull scripts, but even if you pull scripts like on tips for buyers, tips for sellers, you want to make sure it's not coming off as scripted. But you want to create content. And one of the feedbacks that we get is, I don't know what to talk about, and I don't have time to do it. You can create a podcast and have it chopped up now with software. And we'll talk about that in future calls. But you could also create a calendar of, you know what, I'm going to film a bunch of different things that I want to share as content, sprinkled it in with your, you know, some of the other things that we suggested. But create a calendar of making sure that consistently on this day I'm going to post several times, or I'm going to post this particular topic. You know, this is for those that want to be a little bit more consistent and organized. Force yourself to create a calendar schedule, right? Set aside time to engage with your audience in the morning or before bed, whatever works for you, but it should be consistent. And Willie, just talk about this to wrap it up. Some of the ideas that were on that sheet that agents struggle. I don't know what to post about, but this is a good slide right here that will piggyback on the ABCs and different ideas on the bottom there that you can post about. And it's funny, Willie, because I know you don't really see this slide a lot, but indirectly you're hitting on these topics when you're doing your post. You know, like one of the things I saw there is you're doing a lot of inspirational quotes. Maybe talk about some of those and the engagement that you get on those types of, where it says to motivate down below.
Yeah, people, you know, identify with that, right? Some people I've had kind of send me a text on the side or DM, you know, private DM where, hey, thanks, I needed to hear that today, or, you know, hey, I was feeling down and your post really helped, or whatever it may be. But, you know, you never know who it's going to hit. But you know, and I'll be honest with how I do it. I think of things that are going on that day in my
Yeah,
business, whether it's working with other agents. You know, I did something the other day about, you know, a lot of these agents, like a lot of people don't realize that you don't just get your license and you're successful in real estate. Like a lot of these agents had tough first 6 months or first year in a business or 3 years in a business or
right.
whatever. But these are top agents now, right? And a lot of them identify with it. So if something was like, the post that I put on there was something like, you know, the agent that you admire today started with no clients, no loyalty, no sales, but didn't quit. And that got like 100 likes and over 2,200 views already, which has been the most successful post that I had when it comes to quotes. But it's motivating to a new agent coming in to know that, you know, they can be that person, and maybe they're feeling that now in their business, and that's where I identify. So that's what you're trying to do, is really to build your character and your competence with these prospects. But, you know, everything it says right there, educating, right? We educate to attract business. We do the same with us. Buyer tips, seller tips,
Investors.
FAQs. Think about all the different questions that buyers have. And if you don't know what to say, use ChatGPT and put it in ChatGPT and say, what are the top 10 buyer questions that buyer agents get from their buyers, right, when buying a home? And it'll tell you, and then it'll give you all the answers. And then each one of those tips is a video. Simple as that. 60-second, 90-second, 30-second, whatever you want to do, put it out there, and then you just filter it out into your social media. So you're educating people on the process of buying and selling a home. Entertain. Again, I don't do a lot of different entertains, but you could do contests or, you could do different things like that. My entertainment's probably scaring Sherry on video or, finding her in these crazy moments that she just adores. Kidding.
I'll touch on
But
this before and after those. I've seen
yeah,
some, if you're working with investors, they'll show the property when it's, like in a hoarder situation, and you show the finished product, like I think Jeff Miller, right? His properties, those are good content. New construction, if you have a person that's gonna build a house, show the vacant lot and then show the finished product. Those are good things that you can do to attract, people are interested in that stuff, right? This,
yeah.
the most expensive house on the market. So if you're going to a huge broker's open and you're showcasing things like that, those are the things that people will find engaging and entertaining.
Yeah, and then motivated, we just talked about build trust. Again, giving market updates. Hey, here's what's going on in the month of March. Here's what's going on in the first quarter. Here's what's going on year to date with sales. Here's the top 5 sales in a certain community or area. Link to different blog posts, client testimonials. These are all things of you building trust. So I talked about 2 things, right? Character and competence. It's definitely sharing the competence and that you're showing them what a great agent you are and how great it would be to work with you because you know these things versus working with a part-time agent or working with an agent that maybe just started, doesn't have the experience behind them, right? So, or her. So that's building trust. And in community, we talked about already. Different things that you're doing on in the community, but also giving shout outs to local restaurants and businesses. And, plenty of times I've gone and had a great meal somewhere and I'm like, boom, I take a picture in front of the place and I said, what a great place, great dinner, great service. And, I tagged the place. And I've had owners call me and say, hey, Hainers did that to me. Hainers Ice Cream that one time. Norm Hainer reached out and said, Willie, that was, so nice of you to post that. Thank you so much. And, love to see you next time. Right. So those are the little things that I did it because I wanted to do it. It wasn't that I was looking for attention from him or to make him happy, but I wanted to do it because it was good service and it was a great spot. So these are things that when you're looking for content, just document your day and you have enough stuff going on in your day from the time you get up to the time you go to bed that you can fulfill that for sure.
Any questions or comments, Willie, in there on the content we have?
How can you see what I can't read anymore. How can you see what your content is doing as far as the results? Okay, so there's a dashboard, and I think Brian, we could probably switch to.
I stopped sharing it, so you could take over.
All right, let me take over as presenter, and you can go to your dashboard and actually see where that is. Let me just see if I can pull it up on my side here real quick. I did promise you guys I'd show you a couple things though first, so let me show you first. So here's, Brian, can you see Brenda Matt's screen?
I see your social media.
Okay.
It's looks like a feed on Facebook.
All right, so this is the beauty of doing one screen here today. But all right, so that's my feed on there. Let me just type in Brenda Matt because that's what I just pulled up before. And this is Brenda Matt's page. Again, great agent, and she's just does a great job with videos and content. She put a personal thing on there, right? This is her daughter and her birthday, and she put on a post here, cheers to her daughter. And then after that, she had something on there about 3 things in life to tell you the truth, right? Children, yoga pants, and your realtor. But here she talked about things that her clients shouldn't apologize for, and it says, because they always say sorry that, but can we see that one more house? Sorry for texting you so much. Sorry. So basically, she's just saying that the truth is, you never need to be apologized for any of it. It's just part of being a great real estate agent, and she's showing her service. But it goes on and on of some of the things that she puts on here with videos, and here's the stories I was trying to tell you. She talks about Ryan, right? One of her buyers, 6'5". Ryan wasn't just looking for the right house. He needed something where he wasn't ducking all the time in every doorway. So, and ceiling fans, right? So that was kind of a funny thing that she put on there, but she talked about that experience and that, obviously they got to the closing table, found the perfect fit. So what does that show, right? It shows that she's going to work hard to get you the right house. You're going to be happy, got it at a great price, because on here she puts on there that they secured it for 6% under the list price. So just very well written, very well done, but that's the type of stuff that you want to look at. She puts videos on there, again, quick, 60-second videos about different things that are going on. Just sold with her clients. There's the client testimonial, Brian, you were talking about. So all of these things are on here, and it's very easy to do. You just got to do it. You got to just put it on. It's not that hard. Someone asked about my dashboard here and how do you see that? So if you click on dashboard, I can go to my insights and I can show you that in the last, let's see, we'll go back to the last 90 days. I had 518 views, see, over 10,000 interactions. And that's some of the information that you could pull up to see how many views and what's working for you. And I keep jumping out of this thing. And then your content, you can actually scroll down and you can see some of the different content that you put out there, right? If I put see all, I can put, click on this here. There you go. There's some of the posts that I just did. This one here, 95 we already had for putting Kenny on there. This one, Cinco de Mayo dinner, was last night. We had already 1,300 views there, 811 viewers, but we had 1297 as far as views go. Yeah, so I apologize. I wish I could navigate a little bit better through some of these things, but kind of gives you an idea of, how to post, what to post, and how to track that information. So I hope that answered your question there.
Yeah,
all right, what's the other question we have on here? Make sure to mention the need to be professional mode to get to the dashboard. Yeah, you have to be in professional mode to get to that dashboard. So you definitely need that. All right, make sure you guys have that. We talked about the number of posts. Brian, let's talk about the testimonial page. If you go to YouTube, can you still see my screen, Brian?
Yep.
On YouTube?
Yep.
So you see YouTube there, and if you look, I have, I don't know, 300 something videos that I put on there. All of them are different views. In order for it to count as a view, it has to be viewed for 10 seconds or more. So some people might click on it, they don't like the content, or maybe they came up on a different platform. But some of these views, as you can see, YouTube is the hardest place for you to get views on, and even on likes and people to subscribe. But here's where we put all of our videos. I can go to videos and put on here your videos, and then I can actually scroll down and take a look at all the different videos I did. And the testimonial one that I wanted to share with you guys was one that I did with Gina right here. And this is the one that I sent to my neighborhood in a postcard. And Gina did a great testimonial. All we had to do is ask her. And she said, sure, Willie, I'll do it. And if you see here the video, I'm not going to play it because you can't hear it right now. But basically the video is our videographer. So I said, would you do a video? And she said, absolutely. So I said, all right, here are the 10 questions my videographer is going to ask. And I'm going to have him come over and you answer these questions for him on video. And that's what he did. So he went over there, just did an interview with her sitting on a couch, answering all 10 questions. And then he just took this B-roll and edited into the actual video. That was $450 for that video to do. And this was just me kind of going through, my house. But she talked about her experience. She talked about, how great it was working with us, how great it was working with Nikki, who partnered with me on this sale. And she said, at the end, she says, if I was looking to sell my home or any time I go to list my home in the future, any friends, I always recommend Willie as my agent, right? So we put that on there, and then, obviously there's a closing, but, that video went out to, a lot of people, not only in the YouTube format, but I also sent it out in a Vimeo format, and it got over 100 views, and I sent it out to my neighborhood. And I will tell you that out of the listing appointments that I went to in my neighborhood, 4 out of 5 of them mentioned Gina's name and knew who Gina was, right? So that's also good when you can find someone that lives in an area or is known in that area. It's good to leverage them, but just the third-party recommendation is so much better than me just telling them how great I am. I can actually have someone else say it, right? So it's never good to say how great you are, right, Brian?
Yeah.
All right, so that is that's what we had for you guys today, and I think right about on time. We want to do about 45 minutes today. So any other questions that anyone has for that? All right, great content. Yeah, again, just go on. So even if you did one post a day, just make a commitment to get on there. Just like you brush your teeth, do one post a day, right? Just think about where you're going to make that happen, and if you want to do Facebook one day, Instagram the next day, you want to do YouTube next day, you could do one post and just do them all different platforms. And I'm telling you, it's going to get a different feel on every platform. And you're going to get a different view and audience on every platform, right? So, all right. Excellent info. Thanks. All right. Thank you very much for that. All right. So that's it, Brian. Thank you very much. As always, Trish, thanks for putting this all together and getting the content out to everyone. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Marissa is going to be talking about how she uses video and also uses social media. And she gets a lot of, definitely a lot of traction, but also gets a lot of business from the social media site. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Take care. Thanks, Brian.
ABC.
ABC. Thanks.